Welcome to Shamanic Guidance. We're doing readings today that are very much based in depth psychology. So they will get you some really deep insights on your psyche and how to work with more psychological themes that might be coming up for you at this time. So we've got 3 piles, Ace of Pentacles, King of Cups, and Justice. Timestamps are below. I will see you in your readings. Welcome to reading pile 1. We're doing messages that are psychology based and that are coming from Shamanic Guides. Let's flip your cards over. We've got the Muse, Generosity, Naivete, Honor your sensitivity, Ace of Pentacles, the Star, 6 of Cups, Cliff, Standing on the Edge, Re-energize, invite freshness to your life, Ghosts, Grief, Weavers, watch the dragons fly, and Isia, threshold of Isis. So we see with Ace of Pentacles that you're being given a new beginning in the physical realm. This is a threshold moment. I think that's kind of the key word here in terms of where you're standing. You're standing at the beginning of a brand new beginning. And we see that with Ace of Pentacles and the Star. There's some interesting energy here around stuff from the past, like ancestral patterns and energies that we were involved in or that people tried to pull us into. And there's this message here of not taking things personally. I feel like you got sucked into somebody else's trauma, drama, because of how sensitive you are. And I do think this is speaking about a time when you were younger. May not have been that much younger, but there was more of an innocent naiveness to you. That could be before your inner elder kind of started developing, your inner discernment or wisdom, before that really started to kick in and you were very open-hearted, very loving, very innocent in your energy. I'm getting the vibe of like the divine child meeting the elder and these 2 archetypes that we carry, these 2 parts of us that have to come into balance. Because I feel like your divine child self got really hurt by the past, by the ghosts. And it's because you took something personally that was somebody else's wound. You took it personally as a hit to yourself, when the message here is kind of like, it wasn't about you, it's not about you. You're so sensitive, you pick up everything, and you're so loving and kind-hearted that when people do bad things or they're trying to hurt us or somebody else, like, we can get really hurt by it when we are kind of brought into it. If we aren't standing in a solid truth, that people just react out of their own energy. They treat others as they treat themselves. They can't give something that they don't have to give away. So I feel like you're overcoming some really big kind of childhood wound here that is something that I think you've experienced this multiple times in your life. It's like this isn't just something that happened once. It's like a recurring pattern over your life that you've been pulled into the same kind of wounded, traumatized dynamic with people. Specifically, this could be ancestors with the ghosts and the 6 of Cups. But there's a hopeful new beginning after, maybe carrying trauma that was never really yours for a long time, and having a life, a physical life that was based in that trauma, that was surrounded by that energy of that other person's trauma. that because you were so sensitive, you just took into your system and were living it out. There's definitely a continued influence of past energy here, like grief, ghosts, re-energize, invite freshness to your life. And the standing on the edge, the cliff, the threshold, like you're right between these two worlds. And this one energy is about the ghosts and the past and not taking things personally and being ready to start a new kind of physical life because you've extracted yourself from something, but at the same time there's also grief around, the life that you didn't live. The grief around the fact that you were sucked into this pattern as a child and you didn't have a choice. I think this feels very stuck to the end of your nose, like you can't really see beyond kind of the pain of this, or like you're ready for a new life, but there's a lot of the grief and the haunting of the past and why you had to go through these things that is still with you, and that's what's causing you to be teetering between the two worlds. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, this is a pretty celebratory reading in the fact of, like, you have extracted yourself from a very big ancestral pattern of trauma that has been influencing and dictating your life for a long time. You've pulled yourself out. You're healing that child part of you, that sensitive, naive, generous, kind, open-hearted little inner child, and walking into a new physical life based in, and not in the trauma that was passed to you. And this is a whole new world that you're entering into that you may not have any idea, what it looks like to be beyond this pattern. So, I don't see a lot of energy past this kind of threshold. It's like you're really standing at that threshold. And there might be a need to take some time to process this ending and process what this is bringing up and kind of give this part of your life a proper burial, so to speak. You could do a ritual if you wanted to. There's a little grief happening there. I'm getting the sense also that for some of you, this is actually like putting to rest the innocent, naive child energy that was dependent and reliant on others because of this woundedness, this traumatized child energy in you that wasn't able to take responsibility for their life. Like, it was too painful to grow up. It was too painful to move into the physical world. There's something always tying up your energy and preventing you from really stepping into life. This trauma, it's almost like it kept you at a certain age. And it kept you codependent and waiting and regressing, like going backwards. Like for some reason, something was always drawing you backwards, back to your past, back to past people or new people, different faces, but same energies, same patterns. There's this unresolved trauma from childhood that was just so pervasive that, like I said, kept pulling you back and back and back and over and over and over. And so this is your new beginning here. This is the end of this past pattern. And this is the threshold of the new life. We're standing right at the edge of something new. You could say adulthood, moving out of the dependent child that's stuck in some sort of trauma, that all their life force is going into trying to resolve this trauma, this complex from the past that wasn't even really theirs. It wasn't really yours. It was an ancestral, inherited something. And I really feel that cliff card. Like, I feel like I'm actually that girl standing there. I'm really feeling that sense of exactly where this is right now. And there's a bit of dawn breaking in the back of that card, but it's very stormy. There's a lot of uncertainty there. And it's like this little child with no shoes on. This energy is very innocent still. But it's like this girl has been through a lot. She's walked a long way, barefoot. And it's like she's just on the edge of freeing herself. And she's just standing there, you know, maybe needing a minute to recover, to process. There's definitely times where we come out of complexes and we retrieve our libidinal energy from complexes, and then we kind of stand there going, well, what now? And there might be a bit of grief that has to happen. Sometimes you pull your energy out of past complexes and right away it's like you can direct it towards things, and you clean the whole house and you do 100 things and you're full of energy. And other times it's like you pull so much energy out of a complex and you're kind of going, well, what now? You know, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to do with this energy. So that's where I feel like you are right now. It's this transitional zone with a bit of grief, a bit of the past, a bit of mourning what could have been for you that didn't happen, and a bit of standing at the threshold of a new life and still needing to take the time to revisit some things and to tie some loose ends and to find value in what you went through, even though it was painful. All that kind of stuff. Let's pull a few more cards to deepen this or get any other messages. Your next cards are the Guide, Inheritance, Correction, Creatrix. What do you really want? Virgin's Milk, Lac Virginis, Rest and Cleansing Moon, Balanced Relationships, Self-Expression, Boundaries. So it stands out right away, the Guide, Inheritance, Correction. That is so what this reading is all about. I feel like there's the heaviness of what you got from your ancestors and how it impacted your life in a negative way. That's really like weighing on you at this time. And we feel that when we come out of something that we've been carrying for ages. And just the weight of the inheritance of the energy that we were, you know, whatever we picked up on when we were little because we were sensitive and open. And then we carried that energy and carried those patterns, those ways of thinking and ways of being that manifested the life that we had. And also, you know, the Guide card speaks to me about the what Jung calls the daimon, which is also ancient Greek term, which is our inner kind of guiding principle that guides us to our destiny, to what we're meant to be, what we're meant to become in this life, what our soul wants to be, kind of like a holder of our blueprint, the daimon. And I really get the sense that like almost all of your energy has been wrapped up in healing you of this past childhood wound. There has been so much energy wrapped up in releasing you from this complex that feels like it has been extraordinarily detrimental to your entire physical life. Like you might be somebody who's been toiling in the underworld, so to speak, in shadow material, with complexes for a very, very long time. And, you know, not kind of having a great life, not really experiencing the physical life that you want, not getting to have the fun of being a creator in your reality, but just really toiling in the dark to free yourself from some very heavy ancestral trauma, woundedness. And I really get the sense with what do you really want with the Guide here, that you have freed a lot of your demonic energy, your libido energy. You freed a lot of life force from trying to resolve this complex here. And now it's like, what do you really want? You know, who are you now? What do you want? Where do you want this energy to go? Because you've never had this energy before. You've never had this available for you. And there's going to be a period of time now for you. It's not going to be that fast. It's going to take a little bit of time where you get in touch with the true desires that have been kind of hidden or put on the side while you've been dealing with this thing. And it's like you actually finally get to live in, you know, in the upper worlds. You get to come out from the underworld, like Persephone rising after being with Pluto under there. And the whole earth comes back to life as Persephone comes back up. And your physical life is about to change. You're about to have a brand new physical reality where everything in life is no longer colored by these complexes, and your daimon, your inner guide, trying to guide you out of this stuff. But you're going to be living like above the ground, on the earth, living a real physical life that matches your energy, that is you, rather than you, the person healing this trauma. You, the one whose daimon is working very hard and fast to pull you out of this thing that you inherited from your ancestors, to correct your course for you. And part of this, what I'm hearing, is you chose those parents, those ancestors. You chose to come in and to take this on. It feels like it's been a lot. And yeah, I really get the sense that like you don't know exactly who you are now. There's this innocence and this newness that's coming in, this new energy that's starting to flood in with that re-energize, invite freshness to your life card that we had down here. Your libido is releasing from these places where it was going in order to heal you and free you. And now it's like your energy is actually going to be free to support you in becoming a creator, really experiencing and living your creator energy in the physical, that you actually get to manifest. You get to do some point click manifesting, as I call it, where you decide what you want and it shows up. Whereas before it was like you weren't able to have what you wanted, maybe at all. And there was constant manifestations coming in that was your daimon just guiding you to resolve this complex and pull your energy out of it so you could become a creator, so you could direct it the right way. And I'm circling back to this sense of like you signed up for that journey. But first, you just need to spend a bit of time cleansing and healing and continuing to release any energy from complexes if there's still any energy there, to continue pulling your energy back. I'm getting throat stuff there as I speak. It's like almost like I'm having trouble speaking there. Maybe there's some things you have to say. I'm feeling like lung tension and almost like a faster heartbeat there. So there's some stress, some things that you need to say, even writing out things to people that you don't send. And you know, if you have an ancestor who's passed that you have to say something to, you can write a letter and then burn it, or write a letter and then read it out to an animal, like a horse. Horses are perfect for processing grief, moving energy. We have the same theme popping up again and again, from the Muse card with generosity, naivety, the horse with sensitivity, the Six of Cups, the re-energize, invite freshness to your life, the rest and cleansing moon, and the Virgin's milk. There's this theme repeating over and over about innocence, naivety, purity. So I'm going to read one of the quotes out of this Black Virginess card. It says, this archetype can be seen in child prodigies and those expected to grow up too quickly. It is remedied by admitting exactly where you are at. Humor and humility help. When the virgin's milk appears, discernment and honesty must be applied to the work. Is something being glossed over, rushed, or presented as perfect? These are likely complexities that need to be addressed so the alchemist can gain the maturity to handle what's next. So there's some sort of mystery here. An alchemical concept pointing to a lack of awareness or experience that the alchemist would rather not reveal. Its shadow side is naivety and even denial. So this is coming to terms with something, acknowledging something. This can be, I feel like regression would be the psychological theme to kind of hold to mind here. And being honest about why this is coming up. So I was saying earlier in the reading that there's this tendency to try to regress into a childlike state, which may be about not taking on responsibility for yourself or your life. It could be about feeling like the world is too much for you, like you can't function on this planet, some sort of belief like that. Something around, like, I need to be taken care of, I can't do it myself. There's some sort of something within you that wants to regress and seek codependency, like to rely on others, to not take responsibility for yourself and your life, to not pursue your individuation, to not become your ultimate authentic self. And there's this calling you to account here of what is that really rooted in? What is the root of that desire to regress, to protect yourself, to be a baby, to be owning this child energy forever? It's like there's some sort of self-delusion here. And there's just something that needs to be said, that you need to come to terms with. Maybe you need to own your vulnerability in some way where you haven't been able to. Maybe you need to own that you need to rest. Let's pull a few more. We've got sharing of yourself. Remember the magic with hummingbird, teamwork, witchcraft, and peregrina. So many of these cards are about remembering your magic, using your magic, and working with other pieces of you could say, working with your daimon, your guide, working with spirit animals, working with whatever your inner guide is, whatever you call that, your higher self. This teamwork energy and working with the magic of the universe, which I feel like you had access to at some point, but you got so bogged down dealing with complexes and all that, and ancestral inheritance, that you forgot this magical component of life. This could be like synchronicities or just magical happenings, things that feel like the universe is winking at you, and just knowing who you are and feeling like you're walking a very blessed, specific path where everything's kind of aware of you, and these blessings are sent to you, and you have these magical experiences, and you have magical meetings with people and that kind of thing. There's some sort of magic that wants to be reclaimed here that has to do with working alongside your higher guidance in life, that spiritual part of you. So I'm going to read Peregrina. It's the last card I pulled, and it feels like it sums up this entire reading. This card represents the Peregrina, the pilgrim, the heroine at the beginning of her journey. She's looking for something, though she doesn't yet know what it is. Like the Fool in the tarot, she represents innocence. She's open, curious, and ready to embrace life, and yet she's cloaked and clothed for heavy weather, for a journey which may turn out to be arduous in the end. As she walks through this wild terrain far from the civilization of which she was once a part, the peregrina is shedding the ties which usually bind her. She's discovering a willingness to live in the present and to have no presumptions about the nature of what might follow. Happily, she isn't undergoing this journey alone. Her companions travel with her, because in the old traditions of classical Europe, the idea that I'm laughing, the idea existed that each of us comes into this world accompanied by a soul guide, a daimon in the Greek tradition. The soul guide is always trying to help us to remember who we are and why we chose to come here. It reminds us of our calling, the great gift that we came to offer the world in troubling times. This card reminds us that this is the ultimate goal of our journey. We must be willing to detach from who we've been and what we might become before we can discover who we're really meant to be and what our work is in this world. So, incredibly touching reading. We have walked a whole journey to get here. I felt the daimon energy at the beginning of the reading, but to have it come in the book, and I don't always read the book. I felt like I needed to read the book. I love bringing in, whatever the book has to say. And to have that one card at the end that summarizes every single other card is so beautiful, because it really speaks to walking a real integrated journey in life, that this is what life looks like. If this is your reading, absolutely look up the daimon in Jungian psychology and just do some clicking around. Look that word up, daimon. And you're recovering your connection to this beautiful guiding part of you that is magical, that can walk with you, and that you can walk with this part of you in physical reality. And you may have never done that before because you were busy dealing with other stuff. So this is your time to reclaim that magic of, your partner in life, that part of you that has your blueprint, that knows who you want to be and where you're going, and that can guide you there and take you on a very magical journey to get there. And for some of you, final message I'm getting is you might be a teacher of how to partner with this energy. If you know ceremonial magic at all, or you follow the Crowley and Golden Dawn and all that, you might also want to look up the knowledge and conversation with the Holy Guardian Angel. I would also recommend you go on YouTube, look up This Jungian Life, and look up their podcast on the daimon. It's awesome. So we've reached the end of your reading, Pile 1. Beautiful message. Thank you for listening, and blessings on your journey. Hi, Pile 2. We're doing psychology-based readings that are messages from your shamanic guides. So let's flip your cards. King of Cups, Four of Pentacles, Elder B, work with purpose, listening with your heart. I trust the messages I receive from my heart. Meadow, flourishing and regenerating. Uranus, the warrior, perfectionism and burnout. And stop, drop, and ground. So very clear message, Pile 2. What I'm seeing is that you have been putting your energy into a lot of projects, and some of them are not necessarily returning the highest outcomes. I feel like you've undergone a big shift recently around where your energy flows, and what you value in life, what you hold close to your heart. You've become much more aware recently of what really moves you and where you want to put your energy into, what you want to invest in. And you're moving into, with the King of Cups and listening with your heart, a much more heart-based approach to your life and to what you want out of your life. and where you're putting your energy, where you're flowing your life force. So there's a message here that there's a bit of a disruption to your routine at the moment. So you might be on a holiday at the moment, or you have one coming up. Maybe someone you work with is going to be away. There's something that's kind of disrupting the regular flow with Uranus. And this is a moment for you to pause and to take note of kind of what you're holding on to, what in your life is starting to feel heavy and stagnant because you've invested in it in the past. Maybe it's something routine, and it's also something that's kind of no longer yielding fruit for you, or it's not part of your life purpose. I feel like your path has become more narrow because you're more aware of what your heart wants and where your energy should be going. So yeah, there's this moment of a disruption. If something isn't happening already, like you don't have a vacation planned or something like that, I would suggest scheduling some time away from your ordinary routine so that you can get a different perspective of yourself and your life, and you can reorient where your energy's going. Stop, drop, and ground. Four of Pentacles, the Warrior. All of these cards are saying there's a need to stop and check in and to look at where you're kind of stubbornly continuing to flow your energy just because it's your standard, it's what you've been doing, or it's what you think you need to do. All these ways that you've been investing your energy that haven't been heart-based. So they're based in like fears or needs or whatever, but not in your true heart's desires. I feel like this is a time in your life where you're ready to really turn all your energy into the things that your heart wants. So this is a message that could be for somebody who has a sort of corporate job and they are working on a business on the side that is more heart-based. It's their true heart's desire. I really want to open a flower shop. I mean, we've got a lot of flowers and got these two beautiful flowery cards. So for some of you, it definitely feels like nature's your passion in some way. Maybe you want to go work at a wildlife sanctuary, or you want to start a business that has to do with animals. There's something here where you're being called deeper into your heart's desire for yourself, which might have to do with nature in some way. And if not, it's just this energy of like this beautiful flourishing rainbow of colors of these flowers that are in both of these cards here. We see that rainbow motif repeated in the Uranus card, which is really interesting too. So I think there's really an ask here of like, what feels like the rainbow to you? What feels nourishing and vibrant and colorful and alive versus what is dead, and what are you holding on to? What things are stagnant and need to be let go of that you might just be holding for certain reasons that are not your heart's desire reasons. So stop, drop, and ground. And Four of Pentacles even has that energy there, even though traditionally that's not really the meaning of that card. There's like take a moment to just really get your feet in the earth and look at where you're putting your energy into. What projects are you investing in? What people are you investing in? Where's your energy going on a day-to-day basis? And this is a call to just reclaim some of that energy and to start really living from your heart space, like this King of Cups here. Because otherwise there's a burnout thing that's kind of on the precipice here of trying to do too much, holding on to too much, and there's not enough energy to resource that. Let's see if there's any more cards that want to come in here. We've got Just Ask and Risk. So I feel a little bit like you need to sacrifice some things that feel comfortable and that are providing you with something. You need to let go of those, even if you don't have any backup. And there might be some things kind of hovering nearby that you want to be involved in, but you just haven't put yourself out there yet. So that's Just Ask. So there's a little bit of like a get out of your comfort zone, get out of your stuckness, break out of the nervous system, the safety kind of security survival mode here and leap forward into a little bit more of a trusting place and open, and just understanding that when you follow your heart and you sacrifice what is you not following your heart, that the universe will meet you with your energy. It may not have done that in the past, you know, you may have tried to take a leap forward and it didn't work last time, but it's like now you're ready to do this. So when you put yourself out there and you let go of where you thought you needed to get, you know, where you were investing something of yourself in, or where you thought you were getting something out of, that if you cut that, something will come right away to fill that place. And for many of you, it's like that thing is already there, but because your energy is already tied up somewhere else, you can't even see how your energy could be flowing through this other healthier place. So there's this call here to take a risk, put yourself out there, approach, you know, the new opportunities, the new people, get your foot in the door. If you have been questioning things, like put yourself out there. And this could be a put yourself out there in terms of like, yeah, maybe you have a side project that is your passion and you're worried about putting yourself on social media or opening a shop or something like that. And just ask feels like a nudge to just kind of put yourself out there into the world. And your last card is Peonia. This card says, you are now being blessed with prosperity, abundance, and creativity. To enhance this time of joy and amplify your experience of grace, practice gratitude. Simply be happy for what you have and what is being given to you. The universe loves to keep on giving to those who are grateful and happy to receive and who give back to life from the heart with gratitude and a positive attitude. This is such a healing time for you. And there's also a piece of, just like an energy piece of this card that is about your connection to nature too, and we keep kind of seeing that theme. So if what you're doing that is you following your heart involves nature, like you have some sort of passion project that involves flowers or animals or forests or whatever, this Peonia card is also guiding you to, it's like an affirmation that yes, this thing that you're doing that is your heart's desire can bring you abundance. And if you follow it and you drop these kind of other things that aren't in alignment with you, that you've just been doing for security, that there is great reward on that other side. And it's about kind of taking a leap forward and investing yourself in where your heart wants to be, where you feel the best and where you feel connected, and where this beautiful nature part of you gets to play with some beautiful nature outside of you as well. So that's your reading, pile 2. Thank you for listening, and blessings on your journey. Hi, pile 3. Welcome to your reading. We're doing psychology-based readings today, and these are messages from your shamanic guides as well. So let's flip your cards. For Tarot, Justice, 5 of Swords, and 4 of Swords. Upheaval, overthinking can spoil the magic. Elder Ladybug, open to miracles. Sheila Nagig, fertility and creativity. Build on your foundations, transform through wisdom. The Cartographer, a crossroads, exploration. And hearing messages from Spirit. So I feel a little bit like there's a sense of injustice, that the Justice followed by 5 of Swords and 4 of Swords. There's a bit of like an apathy here, a bit of giving up. I feel like the messaging here is around somebody who's been through an enormous upheaval in their life, maybe a lot of trauma, and is having trouble kind of starting up again. There's been this big upheaval, like this could be like moving to a new place and just feeling stuck because you can't get the energy moving. And there's this feeling of like, I had to walk away from all this stuff. I had to drop all these things. This could be someone who's like had to sell everything and go somewhere else, or lost everything in a fire and had to move. There's just this sense of being depleted by life's upheavals, and this feeling of starting at ground zero, and that feeling is just exhausting. There's a real sense of like depletion and wondering if you're able to kind of pick yourself up and start over even. It's like, can I even do this? This message, I really feel like if you know your astrology, you have Saturn in the 5th house. This is totally that vibe. This is like, could also be speaking to people who have experienced miscarriage in some way, like in birth or of a project, like trying to launch something that did not follow through into the physical. This could be somebody who went somewhere else to start a new life and that didn't work, and now they're coming back, with their parents and having to start at ground zero. There's just this sense of being really leveled by life and feeling a little bit defeated, a little bit exhausted, and overthinking. It's like there's a lot of, we've got 5 of Swords and 4 of Swords, which is the mental element with the overthinking here. So there's just a lot of like maybe negative self-talk around this, and I feel like that's a big part of what's causing you problems, is this real sense of like just the dialogue that you've got going on around this story and the perspective that you're seeing it through, which is really adding to like the exhaustion. I feel like we could link this to the creative force. Like I'm seeing references to like the womb and the spark. These creative forces that spark life into being, both masculine and feminine. And there's just this sense of like the depletion in the process of upheaval, that has brought you to this place of needing rest or taking rest. This could also be like somebody who's experienced a sickness lately, for sure, and who really feels like depleted by life and is questioning their life force capacity, their ability to like birth new things and start over and generate new energy and bring things out of the void and into creation. So I feel like your cards have both flavors of this energy, where some of them are focused more on the exhaustion kind of part of it and the upheaval and the depletion and the like, oh, I have to start at zero. And some of these are speaking about, just your ego's really going on and on with the negative self-talk, and that's preventing you from hearing the little nudges, the directional nudges of where to go and what to start, what to do, where to explore, where to put your energy. And there's just this, it's like very quiet kind of magical spiritual energy that's trying to reach you. We see that with the Ladybug card too. And there's this broader message here of build on your foundations, transform through wisdom. Part of that is recognizing your foundation, that even if you feel depleted and like life has wrung you dry and you've been left with less than you deserve and you're at ground zero, whatever these thoughts are here, you still have a foundation, you still have something, you still have you. And there's a need for you to focus on that, like to get your thoughts going in a better direction. 4 of Swords could be a mental break, taking more time meditating, more time deliberately directing your thoughts towards things that are pleasing and calming and that help you rather than hinder you. And just, just sit there and write a list of how this is not your truth and what is your truth. That you're a very strong individual. You have a very solid foundation. You are standing somewhere with a lot of wisdom. You have a lot of life experience. You have a lot of skills. You have a lot of, you know, a lot of things. And you're very guided. You definitely have a connection to spirit. You have a connection to higher self. And all these tools that you have, if you focus more on what you have than what you don't have, you can really start getting your mind straight and receive these little inspirations and nudges from spirit that are guiding you to the spark, to the new life. You could call this Shakti energy, that creativity, that fire. Let's pull a few more cards to deepen this. Your next cards are Peacekeeper. Weavers know that all is God. Be there for you. And Sparks of Light. Beautiful card, Scintillate. So this Scintillate, this is like the energy that I kept feeling throughout this reading, where I kept mentioning sparks, the fire, the inner fire, the void, the fertility energy, the womb and the spark. Scintillate is an alchemical symbol, an alchemical concept, and Jung refers to it often as well in the individuation process. And because I really feel this is the core of this reading, this Scintillate energy, I'm just going to read the card. The Scintillate card arrives just in the nick of time, leaving a trail of celestial light to guide the way. Follow these flickers as if they are alchemical clues guiding you to an illumined state. When this card appears, it's likely there has been a lull or void of direction in the laboratory. Some may even say the lights have been turned off, but in the deep void of darkness, a messenger of hope arrives, flickering and shimmering with enthusiasm. You might feel the scintillate as a childlike giddiness, the presence of magic, a vision in a dream, or a simple readiness to wake up from a long slumber. Follow the physical body, follow the tingling sensations of aliveness within, and you will not be led astray. Vitality, clarity, and inspiration are within your reach. You are alive. You are a vital being. Appreciate this moment. One spark leads to the next. So that really sums this up here. I do feel like you've lost that life force a little bit. Life has beaten you down a little. You're feeling depleted and empty. You're resting. And it might be dark around you. You might be feeling a bit of a void. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think. I don't know where to put myself. I don't know what to try next. And then there's that overthinking piece of, I'm starting at ground zero. I don't know what to do. How do I put the most of my energy into somewhere that's going to give me the most outcome, and blah, blah, blah. And the Peacekeeper card is interesting because next to it, the weavers know that all is God. It's like there's this coming into a acceptance that whatever came into your life and caused this upheaval and caused this depletion was God, so to speak, was meant to be. It was your soul pulling this experience into your life, that you're meant to be here in this depleted place, and that perhaps just like the Big Bang, you are experiencing this from nothing to everything kind of journey. And the Scintillate card is showing you, like, there are sparks for you to follow. We see that in the Ladybug card, in the Hearing Messages from Spirit card, and the Scintillate. It's all speaking about those little sparks, the little glimmers of light that you follow, that you may not necessarily get the whole path forward all at once in one go, but that you will be given breadcrumbs to follow, one little spark at a time. Today, what is sparking your attention? What is drawing you into life? What is energizing for you today? And so paying attention to those little glimmers when you're feeling down and low energy and all that is very powerful. And this is about that cartographer card. This is about building a path for yourself. You have this foundation. It's time to build on that foundation step by step by following these little sparks. So if there's something that interests you right now, it's like pour all your energy into it. Let that consume you. Let that be your passion right now. And then when that fades, let the next spark show, and then follow that and invest yourself in that, because you're being led somewhere. It's just like you're only getting breadcrumbs. You're getting it step by step. You're not getting the whole thing at once, and you can't know the whole thing at once. Be there for you really just affirms this message of like not talking yourself down, not doing the negative self-talk, letting yourself off the hook. No, and also like there's this big message here with these three together around forgiving yourself for whatever happened in your life that was this upheaval moment that left you feeling depleted, that drained you. Maybe you invested your energy in a relationship that didn't work out well. You invested your life force in a job that didn't work out well. But you have to stop bashing yourself over the head for it and support yourself a bit more and blame some other people for once, you know, that you were doing the right thing. It was the other person that was messing up, for example. So it's just, you know, try to get that energy moving so you're not bashing yourself so much and overthinking and investing all your thoughts into like these negative places, and to really understand that this upheaval that came into your life was from your soul. There's some value in it. To look for the value in it, to look for the sparks, and to move into more of a positive mindset around this experience and what you lived, and, you know, whatever daunting kind of future is ahead of you. There's a need to just be softer on yourself and just follow those sparks of light, because you are receiving little hints and messages from spirit. So that's your reading, pile 3. Thank you for listening, and blessings on your journey.